And I think we're live.
Hey, Dieter, great to see you. Great to see all of you out there. Here we are once again with Fearless Flight Live. And thanks, dear. Who was that sent that question in ahead of time there? We were just talking.
I think it was Corey. Corey.
Okay, Corey, thanks.
Yeah.
We're trying to squeeze all of those questions we can out of you all, and so so we've had one.
This is really your time. And so if you, whether it's on Facebook, on Messenger, or via email, if you send us your questions, we're gonna make a point to address them here on the show. And we do have a couple, one of them from Corey. So that's awesome. We'll address them a little later in the show.
Yeah, we'll say that. We're going to talk about some fun things tonight, actually flying. And so we'll get into that. Just remember, we want to welcome you here. It's another episode of what we call Fearless Flight Live. We run every Tuesday, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. And I am Captain Ron, and Dieter is First Officer and Chief Technical Officer, Dieter Staudinger. And it's good to see your smiling face, Dieter. And
Likewise.
we're really glad that you showed up tonight. Whether this is your first time or you've been here before, we want you to know you're in the right place. And we really dedicate this and ourselves to helping people like you, people who want to fly but struggle with fear, anxiety, big problem. 15 to 25% of the U.S. Population alone, which would bring it up somewhere between 60 and 100 million people, are just like you. They don't like to be on board a long, slender tube. And when somebody shuts the door on them, and the thought of trying to get out at 35,000 feet. So we do that. Sometimes it's just people who are just afraid to fly, or not afraid to fly, but know somebody is afraid to fly. And this week and every week, we'll try to bring you some practical solutions, a little bit of education, maybe some coaching if we get some questions that warrant that. And most of all, a supportive community to help you take back your control of your flying life. And it's just one step at a time. You've heard that before, probably, but that is the way that we do it. And I'll put some slides up here.
And the important thing is, if you are watching this, this is already one of the most important steps that you can take, because you're actually giving yourself the time and the space to learn and to connect. And that is essential if you want to overcome your fear of flying.
Yeah. So let me know that I'm sharing the screen there, Dieter, and
Yes,
we'll
you
get on with
are.
it. So welcome aboard, everybody. First thing, Birds of a Feather Group, we like to highlight that and not go any further. I just had a couple of coaching calls this week or yesterday, and they found us on there, and they had experienced the number one contact they had with Fearless Flight was the Birds of a Feather Group. So keep doing what you're doing, everybody out there. Keep putting your experiences in there. If you're not a member, take a look at that link, log on, and we'd have you come. Love to have you come aboard. And when you get over there, it's a safe, private place filled with people just like you. You get a lot of encouragement and sometimes some expert guidance. We monitor it. We see questions and we try to respond to that. Sometimes we get content from the or ideas for the show from it. So the main thing about it is you're not alone, and that's why we call it birds of a feather, because we flock together to lift each other up. So go over that link, click the join now button, and you'll get a couple of questions over there. One, you got to agree not to be nasty on in Facebook. That's a thing from Meta. We can't change that. So if you don't check that, and then we got a couple other questions for our help to better serve you. But once you get to that, you're in, and we really love to have you there.
And I
So
also want to do a shout out to Amber. She says, "Thank you both for being here tonight." And I'm going to return and say, "Thank you, Amber, for showing up." And as we go through the show, if there's any questions, just put them in chat, and we'll do our best to answer them.
And we love to see the interaction in chat. We love to get your questions. So I know so many of you think that you got dumb questions or not worthy of being answered, but it sounds crazy, but there is no really dumb question when it comes to this. The only dumb thing you could do is not ask it. So please try and get your courage up and put your questions out there. Uh, so tonight, the theme is how practice flight can rewire your fear and get you the confidence you need to fly on a regular basis. We call it your first win in the air. Why not start with a practice flight? It's the most powerful tools. You may not think of it as a tool. You may think that, what's the value in taking a practice flight? But if you haven't flown for a while, or even, as little as before the pandemic or whatnot, if you've lost your confidence, a practice flight is a great way to get going. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about what to do in a practice flight. And of course, we do practice flights, and we got one coming up on October 25th, and we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about why it works and how it helps reprogram your noodle up there, and what you can learn about managing your anxiety in real time. One of my favorite clients of all times, Tom, and I just connected with him. He did a coaching session. He's been with me about 20 some years, and he hadn't flown in a while. Had a business trip coming up. So I did some coaching with him last weekend, and he's still on the road. But Tom, if you're listening, congratulations again. And my quote from him is, sooner or later you got to get on the damn airplane. And so a practice flight is a good way to do that. We'll talk about some of the parameters. So grab a notepad if you don't have one, get in, settle in, and get prepared here. So the practice flight, it isn't just about getting on a plane and hoping for the best. A practice flight is differing from just when you do just get on the airplane, in that it helps you get to come up with a structured, low stakes experience. And it's designed, if you do it right, to help you expose yourself to the exact moments that trigger your anxiety. So you can be ready, laying in wait for them rather than the other way around. You can do it on purpose, with intention, and with support. And support includes, texting me if you're at 35,000 feet and you're using the free Wi-Fi for texting. I love getting comments. I love having people check in with me saying, hey, Capt Ron, I'm at the airport. I need a little support, or hey, watch me, or hey, when you get there, I did it, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So here's what we've seen time and again, and this is what we have seen firsthand when we do the flights with you all, and from reports that I get from people when I coach and stuff. And there's three peaks of anxiety that happen before you get in the air. Now, you might get in the air and have one over turbulence set, but for the most part, most people, their anticipatory anxiety is really starts on the ground with these three times. The first time your anxiety tends to peak is when they make that announcement over the loudspeaker in the boarding area, and they say, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be boarding for flight lumpty-dump in just a minute. And that little voice, that little chatterbox in your brain says, oh my God, what were you thinking, Ron? I thought we weren't going to do this. And oh man, this is going to be tough. And so it starts to amp your anxiety up. The second peak that people talk about happens around the time they close the door. Either you see or hear the door close, or when you become aware of it. That's the second time that chatterbox starts, and it says, "Oh my God, once again we're passing a point of no return." And most of you, about 85% of you, that's when you start to have those feelings that you're trapped. And the third time is when the plane taxis out somewhere on the taxiway, normally approaching number one for takeoff. The captain or the pilot will come over the interphone, and they'll say something like, ladies and gentlemen, we've asked the flight attendants to take the seats. We're next in line for takeoff, or we're number one, or whatever. And that's the last time that before you get airborne that little chatterbox comes out and says, okay, now you've blown it, Ron. Now what are you going to do? And again, you're reminded that it becomes progressively harder each time to get out of there. And each one of these moments activates your stress response. And we refer to that as the stress response comes from the sympathetic nervous system. That's the part that's designed to keep you safe. And what it does physiologically, it triggers your heart, your racing heart. It may cause you to breathe shallower, may feel tightness in your chest. You may feel sweaty palms. You may feel butterflies. But the good news is we have a built-in calming system, and it's called the parasympathetic nervous system. And we can activate that system using techniques that were rooted in the human connection and safety. And you had some practice way back. And this is what I do in coaching sessions a lot when I'm trying to help someone inform a person that's going to be traveling with them, usually somebody who loves them, about what they can do to support you, if you're the fearful flyer, during this process when you start to get all excited and amped up. What you need to do is activate your parasympathetic nervous system, because that's the part that calms you down. And think about how we soothe infants. Think about if you're a parent, or particularly a mom, think about the first time you had your newborn in your arms. Things that you tended to do automatically were you soothed an anxious child or an anxious newborn with a calm voice. You made eye contact, gentle eye contact with that, even though our eyes are not really clear, I think, till about 3 months into our lives. They still sense that empathy, and then you get a companion or a comforting touch, physical touch, and these same things work for adults too. There's a couple of programs out there that talk a lot about attachment disorder, not having a good bonding experience with our caregivers as we grow up. But whether that's true or not, I find it's pretty hard to make practical sense out of the old attachment diagnosis or attachment problems. And it's more practical just to do these 3 things. And so what you do, whether you're traveling with somebody that a loved one or a companion, they can offer a reassuring hand, a soft word, and they can get you to look into their eyes and have you talk to them. Now, what do you say? Or if you're this comfort source next to the person who's afraid to fly, you tell them to talk to you, and you get them to look in your eyes and make eye contact. That is really powerful. And I mean right next to their face there. They're going to want to let their eyes dart away. They're not going to want to stay fixed on you, because it can trigger fears or feelings of embarrassment and whatnot. But it's a very practical way to give you some reassurance. And when they say, talk to me, Ron, what can you expect? Well, you might expect them to react a little harshly sometimes. Don't take it personally. And no matter what comes out of their mouths, you don't have to be a psychologist or a counselor or anything. All you have to do is support what they're saying. If they say, I don't like this, this is an uncomfortable part of flying for me, you can say, I hear you, I understand, and I'm going to be right here with you. That's really what they need. You might give them a gentle touch. You might let them squeeze your hands or your forearm or whatever. You might ask if they want you to rub their neck or their shoulders a little bit. Anything that they find comforting and makes them feel attached and secure in that moment. And a practice flight gives you that opportunity to rehearse that in real time. And it's never about feeling fear. It's about training your brain and your body how to stick with something and move through it with tools that work. And this whole nurturing thing with a partner is a good one there through these pre-times. And generally, once you get airborne and you get through this anxiety, the whole flight is much easier after that. when we do the practice flights with classes, what we find is about 10 to 15 minutes into the flight at most, sometimes as soon as 5 minutes, people settle down if they were anxious. And frankly, you can't even tell some of them were anxious before like they were before the flight, because everybody has such a big transformation. So, and every time you practice this and other strategies, you get a little bit stronger. It's great tool. The practice flight itself, it's the best because it is the exposure that you need to transform yourself into a more relaxed flyer. And like I said, those three peaks: boarding when they close the door and taxiing to takeoff. If you can connect these to the stress response that you feel, and use soothing behaviors, or get someone that supports you doing that, you can activate calm instead of anxiety. And as you know, we have tools like the harmonizer, or you can get things like our new custom guided neurosync custom guided visualizations as well. Again, this is just a reinforcement of this calming techniques, and I call it the infant model. This is what happened to us when we first came into the world. We were caressed with a soothing touch. We had usually a little cooing and goo-gooing and talking to us in a soft tone of voice. And what we might not remember as well, though, is the gaze, a loving person gazing into our eyes. And it's a little harder, obviously, to imagine this if you're traveling solo. But if you have a companion, particularly somebody who loves you, it's not only comforting, but it gives them a way to support you that they probably weren't aware of. You know, many people have people that really, really feel for them, feel for you when you have nerves that are racked by the thought of flying, but they don't know what to do. And the things that they do, either they overdo, or sometimes we overreact to them and get hurt feelings, and it makes it worse for both. And so that's why one of the things that we talk about is this infant model. And again, using the harmonizer or other audio tools can help to distract, because if you're one of these people that really gets elevated with these three peak periods of anxiety, it's very, very difficult to do any kind of mindfulness or meditation on your own part. Audio is I think the next best thing to having someone try to do these infant techniques, calming techniques to you. But but if you try to come up with your own words and affirmations, it's pretty tough when you get really wired like that. And in the Fearless Flight Harmonizer, it was created specifically to be the calming voice in your ear when you need it the most. It's scientifically based, and you can't stop anxiety from showing up, but you can meet it with compassion and presence and powerful tools that remind you that you're safe. You're not broken. You just need to be soothed during a really challenging period of your life there. Well, I'm just take this quick opportunity to solicit any questions that might be out there.
There's
Go ahead, dear.
There's a lot going on in chat. Somebody wanted to know more about the harmonizer, and other than that, people are interested in the classes, Air Hollywood.
Okay.
So I'm busy with just
Cool.
answering most of those. But if you can,
Yeah.
since it's pretty fitting, can talk a little bit more about the harmonizer and then about the flight class, that would be perfect.
Funny you should mention that.
Good timing.
This next month on October 25th, we're going to talk about the LA class and another Phoenix class here coming up. But on October 25th, we are going to do another supervised practice flight. We call it the graduation flight. And it's our favorite thing to do because it does allow people to put it all together in an environment of support and supervision to get a real big step towards the permanent changes that they're looking for in fear flying. It's just amazing what happens when the group gets together. You'll make lifetime friendships out of it. And I know it probably doesn't seem reachable right now, but people absolutely get transformed during these flights. And this is going to be a particularly important flight for us here at Fearless Flight, because this is going to be the last one that we're going to do this year. And we do it on Southwest. And frankly, I do not know what it's going to look like next year trying to do this, because next year they are in January, they're going to pre-assign seating. We take advantage of their boarding process right now. We get to early board and we get to sit in a group that way. We'll still do the flights, I'm sure, but next year we may have to up the ante a little bit, and I may have to secure a group status, and that requires me to purchase 10 tickets in advance. And the good news is I can hold those up until a period before the flight, hopefully 2 weeks or more or less. But it'll be a little bit. It's going to take some thinking on our part how we're going to organize this. As it is right now, and on October 25th, it's going to be the same supervised practice flight. And like I said, I'm incredibly excited to share this opportunity with any of you that might have been thinking, hey, I'd really like to practice a flight. Hey, Capt Ron, we get requests all the time, and I know it's tough to merge our classes with your schedule sometimes. We try to give enough advance notice here, and but it's a great opportunity. And this time I'm going to replicate what I did in May. I'm gonna start over in Burbank. I'm gonna go to the Burbank airport early on the morning of the 25th, and I'm gonna meet with a group of students from the Burbank area there. We're gonna fly to Phoenix. And then when we get to Phoenix, we're going to have another group of Phoenix-based students, and we're going to meet with them, merge our groups, going to get on another airplane, and we're going to fly back to Burbank. So I'll personally meet the Burbank group at the airport there, and I'll be flying with those folks and the Phoenix folks every step of the way. And after we land in Phoenix, like I said, we'll meet up with the Burbank or with the Phoenix students. We'll fly back, and you'll get live coaching and supervision throughout. I usually, depending on how many people we have, it's usually a manageable group, and I sit somewhere right in the center, and it kind of has a way of working out who I sit next to and who I sit across from. And then if you bring coaches with you, we'll part of the opportunity is to or part of the process is we have a flight briefing on the 23rd, which is a Thursday evening at 6:30 Pacific time, and we do that online via Zoom, and we talk about the flight, a lot of details, where we're going to meet, the boarding process, just what it looks like, what you can expect, and it's just a really, really good experience.
Ron, let me just put it in Janelle's words. She said, I did the class back in 2018, and I think it was life-changing. I highly recommend it to everyone. And one of the things that we recognize is the fact that you may not even have the confidence of believing that it's possible for you to successfully fly with us, and that's why we do that special promotional price as well. And I do want to say that even if you don't fly, because it's Southwest, you're gonna still retain the credit, right, of what you paid. And now I don't think they even have a limit on anymore, so the credit is good for as long as Southwest exists. And same with us. If you don't fly, you can come back at another date whenever we offer the course in the future. We don't have a future date yet for next year, partially because we want to see how that thing with Southwest shakes out with the whole like seat assignment transition. They've postponed it twice. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one quick update. Southwest has changed it. They have gone back to the 1 year credit on that.
Oh,
And
really?
I'll talk
Jeez.
about it in the next slide. We've got the flights there if people want to write them down and take a look at their schedule. But it's a regularly scheduled flight on Southwest Airlines, and but you can have a community of support, and we get a lot of support from the station over in Burbank in particular, and you're going to get, I think, expert coaching. You're going to be the biggest experts are going to be yourselves in supporting each other there. And you get to practice the tools in real time. And that's what you really need to get over this. If you've been waiting for the right time to do that, this is it. And as Dieter says, it just takes perseverance and commitment. And you just got to have the gumption and go ahead and do it. The itinerary, as I said, I'm going to go to Burbank the night before. I'll be in Burbank, come out of there in the morning, come to Phoenix, hook up with the Phoenix based folks. We'll go back, and then we have a bit of a delay between the return flight to Burbank and before we get on the airplane, and the Phoenix folks, along with me, come back home that evening. And what we do is we have a really, really, really fun celebration. We have certificates. We'll debrief the flight and give you some final support so the Burbank folks can go home and the Phoenix folks come back. And by the time we get back, you'll have enough flying for one day or one day there. Dieter talked about it. Normally, we charge $497 for this on top of the tickets. We do not get to fly for free, and nor will you. So you got to buy a ticket, and that's the biggest thing. I can't overemphasize. Make the commitment to doing this. Get online and buy your tickets, and I'll give you the information here coming up. It's going to be October 25th, Burbank to Phoenix, and then Phoenix to Burbank, and then back. And it's normally $397. I said it's $397. We've dropped the price for right now on a promotional basis to $197. We want to get as many people as we can to fly. And like I said, the reason I charge is because it's not a huge moneymaker. It costs me because I got to go over and get a hotel and I got to buy 4 tickets or 2 round trip tickets over there to facilitate this. So not whining, I love to do it, but it does cost real money. So if you can see the screen right now, on Saturday, the 25th of October, we're going to go on flight 1666 from Burbank to Phoenix. We're going to leave Burbank over there at 11:35 in the morning. We'll arrive in Phoenix at 1:15. It shows an hour and 40, but many of you know right now that the hour and 40 is based on history, and it's from the time the push back the airplane at the gate until they taxi in and stop at the gate at the destination. The actual airborne time can be as little as hour 15, hour 20 on the flight over to Burbank. And I have either the basic fare. When I looked just before class time tonight, the basic fare is up to 143. It will vary. And sometimes it'll go down, it might go down tomorrow. They run it up on the weekend sometimes, but the closer we get to the flight, generally speaking, the more they know that you are serious about this flight and you have fewer options, so they tend to raise it. So by the time we actually we get to within a week or so of this flight, the fare each way will be up around $200, maybe even as much as $250. So you want to buy that ticket quickly, and then also register with us. Okay, so over to Burbank at 11:35 on flight 1666. And we get to Phoenix at 1:15, and we're going to do a quick turnaround. And because the flight going back to Burbank is at 2 o'clock. We did this last time. We did 45 minutes in between flights. We made it. We're right next door to each other, fortunately. I'm hoping we'll have that kind of luck next time. And then we arrive over that's going to be on flight 1040 from Phoenix to Burbank. So that's where we'll pick up the Phoenix people. So if you're in Phoenix, you need to buy a ticket on flight 1040 from Phoenix to Burbank, leaving at 2 o'clock and landing or scheduled into Burbank at the gate at 3:25. And you can see same route, but now this is an hour and 25. But that's because we typically have less ground time on Phoenix than we do in Burbank. Again, that fare was about 143 bucks too. And then we're going to have that short debrief and a little ceremony there, congratulating everybody. And then we got to, the worst part about this is we're going to be at 3:25. We're going to have to kill about 4 hours or so before we board to come back. They just don't have that many return or flights between there this time of the year. But we like it because I've known the station manager over there for, wow, 25 years, and they treat us really well, and it's just convenient. So we accept that, and the flights between LAX and some of the other airplanes or bases over there are more expensive generally, especially Orange County, and much more of a hassle for us. And we try to do this because Burbank is such a laid back little airport there. So then at 8:35, we'll get on flight 249 at Burbank with the Phoenix folks, and we'll return to Phoenix, getting back in here at 10:05 that night. And that fare is 101. So that's the Phoenix people will get a little bit of a break on the way back. So we know it's expensive. We know it's hard to do, but it's a golden opportunity, and we get lots and lots of feedback, like Dieter just expressed there before. So let's see. I want to we'll kind of wrap this part up, and you know, anxiety doesn't have to call the shots. It's just your nervous system is just like a muscle. You can train it, and it's a skill, and you can rehearse it. And that's what these flights like this do. And having anxiety due to flying is like a storm. It'll pass. And tonight, as well as on the actual flight itself, you'll get to explore how you can prepare and find support to turn your fear into courage, and how you actually can rehearse. You've been rehearsing all along and you didn't know it. The self-talk that you have, generally speaking, is negative, and it works against you. And that's why you build up this incredible resistance to ever believing that it can be better. If you've ever flown without incident, and then all of a sudden it became a problem, you know that there is a way to get back, or there's a state of mind that you can refine that will make it so that you get on and you don't even think about the airplane. I talked about the harmonizer. I don't know if Dieter can pull up a website there, or maybe a link.
I've already put a link in chat a little earlier when you mentioned it. So,
okay. And if you want to put up there, I'll share let you share your screen, and we can talk through that if you want.
Oh, you mean the actual
Yeah, where they can go and get information on it. But the harmonizer it's a neuroscience based. We use something called bilateral stimulation. We do it with audio. If you've ever had an EMDR session, it's the same principle that you use in EMDR. And people, you just put a comment in the Birds of a Feather group there, and just see what comes back. Just say, has anybody ever used the harmonizer? If you don't have it,
Yeah.
And you'll get pretty much an overwhelming response that it really helps people. It's one of the best things that I had that I came up with. I can't take all the credit. I got some ideas from some other things, but it's a great resource. And it's $197. And if you join Fearless Flyer Club at the $57 a month level, you can get it for free. So keep that in mind as well. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit more in detail. This about the 101 class. I'm sad to announce we had to cancel the 20th class because we just didn't have enough people signed up to warrant holding the class. Not just for the expense hassle of me going over there, but the studio itself, he generously donates that, and if I only have a few people over there, I feel badly because we just don't. It requires them to have their staff on duty, and so we made a collective decision not to have the class this weekend. However, if you've registered for that, you would have received an email from me today explaining that, and I've offered some options to those of you who registered, one of which is to reschedule for October 11th. And right now that is on. We hope that people will do that. It's important if you want to make the class, if you want to make the advanced flight, the graduation flight on the 25th. It's really a great opportunity to, if you're in the LA area, to join us on October 11th at the Air Hollywood Studios to go through the mock facilities that we have up there. And for those of you in Phoenix, we don't leave you out. We're going to have another class. Oh gosh, what's the first Saturday? October 6th, I think.
I
Is the
think so,
next
yeah.
Clear for Takeoff 101 class in Phoenix. We just had one last Saturday night. And so you can do that. They're great ways to kind of rehearse. But if you don't have an opportunity to go
Actually,
to
it's
one of them,
October 4th.
October 4th. There we go. October 4th is the next. Oh, of course, I just subtract a week from the 11th there. But if you want to get a little bit of extra help in that, or if you just want to jump in an airplane, come on out because we do that practice on October 23rd. Let me get that slide up there. What we're going to do in that pre-flight webinar is it's a mix of education, kind of like the weekly shows and in my monthly coaching sessions. We talk about strategies and emotional support, and we'll walk you through the boarding process that you'll experience the next day. Everything from showing up at the airport, getting your boarding passes, and things like that. How to register or how to check in on your own if you want. Although I'm able to get us all pre-boarding, and then we'll talk about breathing, visualization, and other mindset tools. So if you have no opportunity to do anything before this, come and fly anyway. Come and join us. We've had I'd say about a third to a half of the people that fly with us have never done anything before. So they see this opportunity and they take it. Okay, so this is it again. The Clear for Takeoff 301. And we're going to do that on October 25th. Let's see, I don't need to do that's the flights once again. And
I just Katie wanted to know, yeah, you I put the links in chat. Depending on where you want to start, you either click on the Phoenix link or the LA link. And I do apologize that with that software that we're using, it seems that when you're watching it on YouTube, those links don't work because of how they get bunched up. So I often go over there and manually change it. But if you're on Facebook, then I just put the links in the chat here. So again, it depends where you want to start, either in Los Angeles or in Phoenix.
And as this slide says, you ain't the only one. There is a magic of sharing this experience with other people. Lifelong friendships, as I mentioned, was it Janine, who was it that volunteered her testimonial there before? But it's true. It's life-changing for just about everybody who
Yeah, it
does
was
it.
Janine.
Yeah, Janine. And we really would love to have
Janelle, sorry.
Janelle. Thanks, Janelle. So, okay, moving on. This Thursday night, 2 nights from tonight, is our monthly live monthly group coaching webinar, our Clear for Takeoff 201 sponsored course. And it's about flying over water. I don't go a week without somebody saying that they hate flying over water. They hate flying long distances, stuff like that. And so the theme is navigating the unknown and managing your panic. So I'm going to have a little special segment which is on panic attacks, which is what bothers most people. So that's this coming Thursday night at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. There's the link to register. You can get, if you're a Fearless Flyer Club member, you get it as part of your membership. If you're a one-time or first time and you don't know whether you want to be a member of it at all, you can get it for $47. So consider that. And like I said, we're going to talk about what if I panic on the plane. I touched on that last week. I'll have a little bit more in the class there about specific tools and strategies for doing that. Okay. Let's see. Let's just stop the share for a minute. Okay. So I forget who it was just before we came on board tonight. Or started the show, someone read a news report, and I went over, I had a couple, that's why we're a minute late starting. I went over to watch one of the news reports. So the problem is somebody has complaining enough, the FAA has come out and has been talking about smoke in the cabin of the airplane. They showed a couple of pictures on there, very unsettling if regardless of whether you have anxiety over fear or not. The thought of being up there confined with the no change to or no opportunity to change the environment, and so it's been in the news there. Let me tell you, from 45 years of experience, jet engines are the greatest thing, one of the greatest things since sliced bread to hit the airlines. And when the way they work is, we don't have a little duct like you do in your car that sucks in outside air and you can just bring it in from the outside. We take air into the intake of the engine, and we use it for two purposes. One is for combustion, and the other is we bleed some of it off. That's the term that we use. We have these little doors on the engine itself, and they're very sophisticated. They're operated by computers, and depending on the needs for thrust and the needs for other things, and we bleed air off. That's the terminology, and we run it through an air cycle machine. On the ground, it makes cool air, and even in the hottest days of the year, when you're at 35,000 feet, the outside air temperature is about -70. So we can cool you off really quickly up at altitude. And so it's a complicated machine called an air cycle machine, and it provides heat or cooling depending on what the needs are of the human beings in the cabin. And it's very sophisticated. It takes air off of the engine. Now, the air in the engine itself, where it takes it off, believe it or not, it's about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're always taking hot air, even though it came in from the intake, it was much cooler. And it goes through this air cycle machine. And one of the causes is it's sometimes the seals. There's very sophisticated seals like you'd have on the engine of your car. And they get old, they get unsealed or unseated, and they leak. And so sometimes, and most often, if I've ever had that problem, it's usually been on the ground. After we start the engine, we notice it. And if it's a problem that requires some attention, we just simply don't fly, and we correct it on the ground there. But there's been some reports of that. And how prevalent is it? 3 flights per day in the United States. So, and any of those are unacceptable, but that just gives you again some confidence in the fact that it's very, very unlikely that you're ever going to do that. And even if you should be on a flight where there is such a leak, and the air is somewhat foul coming in, it's not toxic, generally speaking. It's not fun. I remember one of the most common things that we had when I was flying, problems related to that would be that when we went through de-icing stations, and if the crew didn't turn off the air conditioner at the time when they sprayed this glycol, this antifreeze on the outside of the airplane. Sometimes you'd get that smell of antifreeze in there, and that's ugh, it's yucky. And but now everybody's got procedures, so they make sure that they turn off the air when we go through the de-icing stations and process like that. But that's one of the that was a likely thing some places in the winter. But this problem, it's under investigation. And I read that Airbus airplanes, if you want to pick and choose, Airbus accounts for about a little over 60% of the incidents that are being reported. So it may be that the engines, the seals are old. You know, that's what happens on a car. It may be that they haven't used the airplane a while and it causes some of the seals to leak. I can't give you a really good mechanics rundown. I will look for that. I'll see if I can find somebody in maintenance to give me a better idea. But it's not a new problem. It was there all through my career, and I wanted to just try to give you some information based on the fact that we got that question there.
Hey,
Any
Ron.
questions?
Yeah, there's I just want to answer Katie first, and then I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Okay.
So she's asking, how come you don't know so much about anxiety if you don't have it? And I just want to answer that. Well, we both have a background as clinically trained therapists, and we as human beings have our own anxieties. It just doesn't happen to be flight anxiety. And one of the things that you'll learn as you are sticking with us and going through the programs, and especially our monthly group coaching calls, which are really more intimate deep dives, where a lot changes, because it's not about the plane. It's really about what's going on inside of us here and here. And that's when you will recognize, as you keep working on that, that it'll spill over in other aspects, in other parts of your life as well. And like, we have people who listen to the harmonizer before they go into meetings. It just, because anxiety, and Katie also mentioned that she's actually excited for the flight that's coming up. And one thing that we often point out is that excitement and anxiety are actually the same neural pathways that light up in your brain under a CT scan. So that's why they're so related. And one of the non-scientific ways of distinguishing them, you could say, is that anxiety is excitement without the breath. In anxiety, we tend to lose our connection to our breath pretty quickly. So, but Ron, I'll let you answer that question as well.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. I don't bring it up as often as maybe I should. Uh, Dieter and I are both human, despite what some of our adversaries might think. We both had a childhood with well-meaning parents. But the problem, it's not about blaming your parents, but all of us were young and undeveloped at a time. And the problem is that you're born 12 years too early, if you've never heard that expression. And that what that means is in order to exit the birth canal without killing the mom, your brain has to be small. And in doing so, your brain isn't fully developed. And it takes 12 years before you have a really, really pretty capable brain. But the brain continues developing all the way up until sometimes the age of 30. And so in that struggle to develop, we have a struggle to interpret things. I mean, if you've ever been around a 3-year-old, they can't even express what's bothering them sometimes, because they don't have the words and they don't have the association. So all of us went through that, and that's where a lot of anxiety comes from. I talked about the whole notion of those peak times and how to address those. Those go all the way back to the moment of birth. You come out, and the interesting thing about human development is nobody has to teach you how to get excited and trigger your sympathetic nervous system. That happens automatically. And if it doesn't happen when you first come out, they swat you on the bottom to get it activated. But the problem of calming oneself is something that we learn over time. That's why mom's first attempts to hold us, to snuggle with us, to look in our eyes and talk to us is the first times we get that. Then some of us, including myself, were abused at points in our lives, and that can have an impact on it. And then others of us, again, like myself, my mom was prone to anxiety and depression, and that had an impact on me. I was the first born child in the family, and my little mind was trying to figure out how I could help. And I noticed things, and she didn't have all the benefits that I did of counseling and therapy. So that's how we get that way. Yeah, we all got that. And just because I'm a pilot and Dieter and I are both trained as therapists, uh, you don't get a buy. You can't you can't do your own therapy basically, and both of us have done therapy. So
Mhm.
thanks. It's a good question, and I count it as helping to keep us accountable to you all.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I can't say enough about if you don't know what to do, sign up for a 15-minute phone call or Zoom session with me.
Mhm.
I'd love to do that. I would say a majority of the people that I hear from and hear their success started with a 15-minute phone call. So
Mhm.
we want to thank you for being here tonight and sharing the time together, and especially the questions. The more the merrier. And whether you joined us live or you're watching the replay, leave a note and let us know how you're doing. And remember that panic does not define your flight experience. You do.
Yeah.
And tonight we talked about panic. We're going to talk about it again on Thursday night for those of you who choose to join us. Uh, what it is, why it happens, and why you don't need to fear it. So we like you to thank you again for joining us on Fearless Fight Live, and remember, it's you can do this. And the
Absolutely.
shortest way through fear, or around fear, is not around it but through it. So thanks
Mhm.
again, thanks Dieter, and thanks everybody out there for another episode. We'll see you again next week for Fearless Flight Live. Bye bye.